Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Good afternoon. Thank you for all the people that have commented, and I just want to lend my small voice to the conversation with regard to minimum wage and what I see as in affecting the business community on Main Street and those people who support the business community on Main Street with whom this bill purports to help. So I've been in business for 35 years. I operate a business in the hospitality section of retail and restaurant. I have basically a woman-run business. And just for a point of clarification, many are single moms. So the quality of life that those single moms had before they came to my restaurant has been improved, because the quality of their life is the quality of each other's life, and they help each other, and they work hard for each other, and they work hard for me, and they work hard for the people that they serve. And I think there are two words that probably have been missed in this conversation today, at least I haven't heard them. One is service, and the other is earned. These are wages that are earned. And there are many people that earn whatever the minimum wage is today with a lot less effort than other people who work quite a bit differently or quite a bit harder. That's why we believe, I think, market conditions should be the driver with this minimum wage and not government statutes. Of those 50 some odd people that I have working for me, the 6 of the top 8 are women. All of those women, each of those 6 women began as a waiter in my restaurant, and now they run the restaurant. So I would argue that the quality of life and the opportunity they had to earn tips, and while I appreciate the historic information with regard to how tips were started, I don't think that that's what's happening today. It's certainly, I can tell you, not happening in my restaurant. What's happening in my restaurant are people work like crazy, and for that they earn tips, and for that they earn a living wage. And many of them own cars. They've been able to buy houses. They've been able to send their kids to college, and they've been able to enjoy the opportunities to live in this state, even under the pressures that this assembly sometimes put on people in this state with our lack of dealing with the fiscal opportunities that we have here. A little bit about business, and I know certainly about restaurants. I look at a prime cost. The prime cost has to be a proportion of sales, and the prime cost includes labor and product. I disregard any of the other overhead, and I look, and there's a number that I need to hit for prime costs in order for us to be a profitable restaurant. This today will drive up that prime cost. Other opportunities under the Connecticut General Assembly for consideration will also drive up that prime cost. If we pass tolls, the opportunity for products to be delivered to my restaurant will come in at the same rate, but at a higher cost, because the businesses will have to absorb that cost. The increase in the sales tax that's proposed, just for the fact that we have a restaurant, we get to pay an additional 1%. That may thin out a few people coming. The sugar tax that's considered at 1.5 cents on a 12-ounce per ounce item, that could be a 20-cent cost on top of a soda. Now that may not be much, but I'm wondering how many people will order water instead of that soda. It's no less work for me or my staff. They still have to deliver that water. But I don't get income driven to that prime cost. Paid family and medical leave, I'm not talking about the merits of the program. I'm just saying that the people that would have to substitute for those people out would need to be trained, and then they'd be eligible for unemployment. Those opportunities would drive up my prime cost. So, Madam Chair, I have some concerns with how this bill is written, and I certainly appreciate the good chair's comment that there has to be further discussions. But I'm not sure why those, to Senator Minor's point, have not been discussed previously, and so that we had a better bill that we could talk to. I offer my staff paid vacations, health care. I pay 50% of their health care for them and their families. I offer them an opportunity for pension for which I match a percentage of their salary. They get sick days, they work a 5-day week, and if their kid has a Little League game or has to go to a band concert, they have the opportunity to go there first. And I'm not unique. I'm not the only business or the only restaurant that operates that way. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of restaurants and businesses across the state of Connecticut who put their people first. Because as a business owner, you understand that the most important asset you have are the people that are on the front lines and work for your business. And so they get rewarded in my business. And this bill will not. And if we're looking to pay a fair wage, as I heard someone say, quote unquote, servers earn between $19 and $40 an hour. That's well above any number that I've heard here today. But yet, with this bill as it's written, servers would earn an additional $3 an hour under minimum wage because the tip credit hasn't been adjusted. It would be the same. Servers that earn $6.38 now would earn $9.38 then. And they would still make their $13 an hour, so they would go up to $22 to $43 an hour. And I think that that may be an overlooked, unintended consequence of this particular thing. So I think when people think about tip credits, I think they have to look at the big picture and think about everything. And that's just my restaurant, a larger restaurant that has 50 or so employees. Many small mom and pop restaurant opportunities aren't going to be able to cover this. So I take exception when people say that the businesses don't provide for quality of life. I've been able to raise the quality of my life through my business, and I worked, if you added my hours up in the early years, I made a whole heck of a lot less than minimum wage ever was. And I made sure that my employees got paid before I got paid, and before my family had things, because we worked to invest in the business, and that's what the American dream is all about. Take your idea, take your passion, create an opportunity, work like crazy, start from nothing, and someday I have the opportunity to sit here and give a speech like this in a position like this. If this isn't the greatest country in the world, I can't tell you what is. And that's from hard work of people who earned it, and for people who served their fellow man and for served their people in the state of Connecticut. So with regard to historical minimum wage increases that this bill refers to, in 2015, 16, and 17, the wages increased 45 cents. This bill proposes to increase in 3 short years $1.90, $1.50, and $1.50. I suggest, Madam Chairman, that we look hard at that. That there's an opportunity to be consistent with the minimum wage laws that have gone back to 2008, 9, 10, and 14. And that we expand out the opportunities to implement this. I'm not naive enough to know that this bill is not going to pass today. But on the floor, this needs to have a much, much better adjustment. We need to tweak the tip credit. We need to tweak the time to implement this in an effort to save some of the people that are going to suffer, some of the businesses that are going to suffer. And I think we ought to do something with regard to the beginners, the learners, and those under 18. Because as this moves up, some of them really have no cost. And it's really a cost to an employer when someone walks in the door for the first time. They have to follow someone along. for a week or 2 weeks or a month so that they learn their job. So I'm not going to be paying $15 an hour times one to do one job. Businesses will be paying $15 an hour times two to do one job in the 3 or 4 weeks that it leads up. That's why there's a credit for learners in my view, Madam Chair. So I would like to offer an amendment, Madam Chair, on this bill that would, at the very least, begin to address some of the concerns that I have. And it starts with line 46 and it ends with line 50. And I just simply propose.
Senator, I'm wondering do you have a copy of that so I could get a copy of that? Is there
Yes,
a
ma'am.
possibility?
It just proposes to eliminate the brackets.
Of,
Line 46, eliminate the bracket. Line 51, eliminate the bracket.
and the,
And this-
and the consequence of that would be?
Would allow the rates for learners, beginners, and persons under the age of 18 shall not earn less than 85% of the fair minimum wage. So that this would help with the conversation and move forward.
There's a motion on the floor and a second, and Brandon, if you could please
Madam?
have people be ready for a vote. So if you could announce that, have somebody else pass that out, and please do that. Somebody else can pass that out. I need you to call right now.
Would be a roll call vote, if you will,
Yes, it
Madam
would be
Chair?
a roll call vote.
Madam Chair, as a point of order, would I have an opportunity to address the committee
Keep-
after the vote, or should I make my statement now?
You can address the committee both before or after. It's up to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think this is a very important, well, I don't know when we're ready to vote, so somebody will
You
interrupt me.
can, you can start. He's calling in people.
Okay.
Most people are sitting here right now, so.
Okay, yes, and that's right, people may want to comment on this amendment. But I'd like to also think about the unintended consequence of things, which we often do during legislation. If this bill goes into effect, it will create the opportunity for automation. I know the owner of a fulfillment company. They fulfill orders for other businesses. Warehouse, they move it out. This business does 15 to 20 million packages a year. Just to put the labels on those packages takes an inordinate amount of people. And I've been told that if this bill passes in the form that it's at, that they will now be able to afford the automation necessary to replace the people with automation. We've heard about McDonald's with kiosks. We've heard about self-service. We know all about all of that. So I just hope that people are mindful of what may happen with regard to this bill. And if 1,000 businesses across the state of Connecticut end up losing 5 people as a result of this, we should be prepared for some job losses in the thousands. So, Madam Chair, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to share my voice today and for the graciousness in which you've conducted this hearing today. We appreciate that. And as I said, I'm not sure if anybody wants to speak to the amendment, but I would ask for a roll call vote. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Are there any comments on the amendment at hand? Dr. Pettit?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think this amendment goes to one of the concerns